Hello friends! So today I'm going to finally finish the witch's bottle that I got my cousin's help in making a while ago. She did the macrame for me so that I was certain I had a very secure, solid way to hang it. Witches' bottles have been used in a variety of traditions and cultures around the world for different means. There are some cultures that differentiate between witches' bottles and witches' jars, where one is baneful and one is protective. What I am doing today is a purely protective thing. That said, there is a lot of discussion about different paths, different traditions, and how they can use the same name for a wildly different object or spell. So, if you have a different context that you've been taught in, I would love to hear about it. Go ahead and add your thoughts in the comments, because I love learning. This channel is dedicated to not just my sharing my knowledge of folk healing, but also hopefully being able to learn in turn. So, that being said, I think it's time to run the intro. Welcome back, and now we're going to get started on this witch's bottle. So, in my thumbnail, you probably saw a wide variety of ingredients that I have on the table. I was taught that you always do things with witches' bottles in odd numbers. That way the balance doesn't even itself out, and it stops doing things. With the odd number, it keeps a forward momentum of the energy. So, for what's going inside the bottle, I have an odd number of objects, and then I'm also going to add a little more ornamentation to the outside that is also symbolic. So inside, the first thing I'm putting in is some cinnamon. And the reason I'm using cinnamon is because it is used for protection, consecration, money drawing, and it is often used to speed up the effects of other things. So keeping with the odd numbers, I'm going to go ahead and drop 3 sticks into my bottle. Next up is thyme, which I have here. Helps if I hold it in a way you can actually see it. And I'm using thyme because it is used for health, happiness, protection. And so I'm going to add, it's a little more difficult with leafy things to get just an odd number. So what we will do is we will add 1 pinch and count that as our odd number. There we go. Got my thyme in there. Next, I also have some bay leaves, which are used for purification, protection. You'll notice I'm putting a lot of things that are protective in here. Part of conjure traditions is that you use what you have. And what I have is a lot of protective herbs because they're what I cook with. They're what I have in my kitchen. So bay leaf is another one for protection. It's also to promote psychic abilities, prosperity, purification. So I'm going to go ahead and drop 3 leaves in. And alright. For our next one, I also have anise seed, which is this one, because anise and fennel look remarkably similar, and I'm using both. Wait, hold on. Nope, I had them backwards, because it's what happens. Anise is protection, psychic abilities, communication, and is used to ward off nightmares. And fennel, since I keep talking about them together, is courage, divination, cleansing, strength, energy, meditation. It has a lot of things. Protection is often used in counter magic terms to reflect things back at people. So we're going to go ahead and get odd numbers. So there's 3 of those. And actually, no, I think I want 7. here we'll also do some. Okay, so there's my fennel and my anise. I also have allspice. I have the actual full kernel allspice, which I think needs 13. 13 sounds right for allspice, which is associated with prosperity, luck, and healing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. After allspice, I have whole cloves, which are again protection, because definitely having a theme here. Cleansing, spiritual healing, and enhancement of spells. So we're gonna do 5 of the clove. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I have an acorn that I collected on a walk. Acorns are part of the oak tree. They represent strength, courage, fertility, longevity, abundance, healing, vitality, lots of stuff. So we're going to drop him in there. In addition to that, we're going to add a pinch of salt for prosperity, protection. And actually, we'll add 3 pinches of salt. It's kind of hard to overdo it on salt when you are working on protections. And then I also have some cascarilla that I have made myself, which is a protective element. It is ground up eggshells because that is the tradition I was taught to use, and because the actual plant is outside of my traditions. So I use the eggshell, that way I don't make waste. And we're also going to do a few pinches of that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. 12. Oh, I am off by 1 number. I'm going to need to find something else to put in here to be number 13. Because this big gnarly root here is a root ball from one of my mother's roses. And so roses, particularly their root systems, are incredibly durable. They have a lot of symbolism in regards to endurance, love, protection because of their thorns. So I am going to take, I think, this little piece over here, this long, straighter piece. We're going to trim that off of the root ball. And we'll drop it in there. All right. I'm going to need to take a moment to think about what because the last thing I want to add is my little bit of my own hair as the tag lock of this is mine, this is my house, this is my protection. So what other thing? Oh, I know, manzanita, because manzanita has been very important in my life. So I've grown up in the foothills of California where manzanita is all over the place. So I'm going to grab a small piece of manzanita out of my stash of wood and be right back. Alrighty, I have returned with a few manzanita twigs. These ones I collected at a part of Hog Pines referred to as Ghost Mountain from a mail crossroads, actually from little triangular patch of land between 3 masculine crossroads. So it feels appropriate to put 3 pieces in. I'm still doing more research about all of the symbolism of Manzanita because being native to particularly the western United States, most of the traditional or historical uses are medicinal by the native populations. As far as its uses in folk healing and folk practices, it burns very hot, so it can be a symbolism of fire, of masculine energies, and these are just my own associations because they're what I infer from the natural abilities of the plant. It's a very powerful herbal ally that I need to do more research about. But I am comfortable using it as a protection ward because they have protected my family's property through most of my life. So I'm going to go ahead and put my 3 branches of Manzanita in here now too. All right, so now to get to 13, we're going to put in some of my own hair. And that finishes off everything that I am putting inside the bottle. So to run through the list real quick again, I have cinnamon, I have thyme, bay leaf, anise, fennel, allspice, cloves, acorn, salt, cascarilla, manzanita, and my own hair. Now that I've got my 13 ingredients inside, it's ready to go. It can now be hung and activated. I'm not going to share my specific spell, my specific words as I dedicate it to its purpose online, because I feel that that is a very personal thing that everyone should think and ponder for themselves on what words they need to use to activate their own protections on their own spaces. So, to finish off, I do have some charms to hang on the outside because they used to be hanging on my my ritual staff that I used when I was Circle Guardian for a friend and their circle, or I guess now they're calling it a coven instead. Being Circle Guardian is all about protection, and so I'm going to add what I had hanging off of that staff to it as well, because it feels right to me, and that is how Conjure works. So I have a unicorn pendant hanging from a purple thread, which I'm just going to tie on over here. I'm going to tie it around this one. And I'm not doing any fancy knot work or anything like that. I'm just knotting it in a way that it will remain attached. Because I don't want to have things fall. So I have that attached to one side. And then the other piece that I had on my ritual staff, which I am in the process of making a new one for a different purpose. A phoenix pendant with some seraphonite that I have tied up with black, red, and white cord. So that's going to hang off of one of these other sides. So we're just going to, again, nothing too fancy, just securing it to the side so I don't lose it, so it doesn't come off. And I haven't figured out what my third thing on the outside is going to be yet. I do feel like I should put a third something, but I'm gonna have to think on what the third something will be. Because for now, this is what I've got. So I'm gonna, actually, I think what I need is some sort of crow or raven to be the last one. need to think, do I have a crow or a raven pendant somewhere that would be able to be added to this? I'll be right back again. Okay, I'm back again, and I figured out what was missing. So this is a protective amulet that I've had for close to 3 years now. He made his way into my life through one of my coworkers, actually, who it was given to her by someone who really didn't know what he was doing in an attempt to manipulate her. She was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this. I don't want it. I'm like, well, how about this? I will trade you and I will take it off of your hands if you are not comfortable having it. And I ended up trading her a piece of smoky quartz for it. And for me, they have been a very protective amulet of a raven, which is covered in Norse runes on one side. So you can see, if I can get my camera to focus, maybe? Are you gonna focus? You're focusing on my face. Okay. What if I get my face out of there? Will you focus on it now? Okay, my camera's being uncooperative. And on the back side, it has them circling. So ravens are a symbol of magic and of messages and of death. And I actually end up interacting with a lot of spirits. So I'm very comfortable with omens of death, because what is death other than a transition from one place to another? I'm going to attach it with a blue and a black cord. Blue for loyalty, and black is one of the colors of magic and of the nighttime. And so by putting them together, it just feels right. Again, conjure. You do what feels right. So we're going to thread that on here. And I've never actually attached him to anything before. He has always just kind of lived in my pocket. And he made it known a while ago that that's not how he would prefer to be used. He would prefer to be hanging somewhere, be visible somewhere, either as a necklace or, as it turns out to be, as part of the outside decoration of my witch's bottle. And so I look forward to seeing how this works out. Also, if you've been paying attention to the symbols of what's gone on the outside, unicorns are often associated with water and earth, and phoenixes with air and fire, and rebirth and healing. It's an interesting mix of what felt right to put together here. But then again, as human beings, we're interesting mixes of things, aren't we? And with that, I have finished my witch's bottle for today. And so all that's left is to put it in its place of honor in the house, which for me is going to be in my bedroom, because I do not own this house. It is not my house. And so my space that I have for myself is my bedroom. And this office workspace that I have. And so I will hang it up in there, and I will put a picture to show you how it looks. Until next time, walk in the light, my friends.